Kingdom Come Deliverance is one of the most iconic RPG games ever made, and while it has beautiful graphics, amazing gameplay mechanics, and is overall a really good game, there are core issues and things that you must know about before you buy it. But the game is an open world RPG that takes place in a medieval kingdom. You play as Henry, the son of a blacksmith, whose peaceful life is shattered when a mercenary raid destroys your village and kills your family. The ultimate goal of the game is therefore to seek justice and revenge. The game world is vast and realistic, filled with lost forests, bustling towns, and massive castles. What you'll also notice is that the game is grounded in historical accuracy, with a strong emphasis on realism in its combat, environment, and even storyline. This nature therefore makes a very unique experience if you enjoy historical settings but also immersive story-driven gameplay. Now, in terms of the main gameplay, it is all about open world exploration, completing missions, and engaging in quite realistic combat. The game will start you out with the most basic mechanics. This could be learning how to use weapons, crafting, and the most simple dialogue. But as you progress throughout the game, you'll unlock way more advanced skills and abilities, making the gameplay increasingly more complex but also rewarding. For example, in the early game, you might struggle with the basic swordsmanship, but through training and practice, you can become a very skilled fighter, or you can take on multiple opponents at the same time. This combat system is one of the most important gameplay mechanics and what makes the game truly stand out. What also plays a massive role in the game is the quests and dialogues. You must navigate through intricate conversations where your choices can affect the outcome of quests and relationships with other characters. For example, if you chose to threaten someone, it could work in one situation, but could lead to big issues another time. Crafting and alchemy also plays a big role, as you must gather resources and materials to create potions, repair equipment, and even craft new items. This system adds a ton of depth to the gameplay, as you can tailor your experience to your own playstyle. For instance, mastering alchemy can be a massive advantage in combat and survival. And that brings me to my next point, the progression system. So as we covered, in the early game, you start with the most basic skills and abilities. However, as you complete missions and practice different skills, you'll become way more proficient and capable, both in terms of your skills but also the struggles you face. So early on, you might just be fighting off bandits with basic weapons, but then by the end game, you could be leading an entire battle with advanced combat skills and well-crafted equipment. But this progression feels quite natural and rewarding, as you'll grow from a novice to a skilled fighter. Now, the storyline is a massive part of the game. It'll guide you through the game for your journey for revenge, and along the way, you'll meet many different characters, where you must make important decisions and uncover political and social conflicts. On top of that, you have a ton of side missions. These provide additional content but also opportunities to explore the world. They will often interact with the main story and will offer deeper insight to the characters and the world around you. And of course, they are also good rewards. They can grant unique items, money, and XP, which of course helps in your overall progression. And a lot of these side missions are found through exploration, which is also a massive part of the game, as you can explore a large and open world with many different landscapes that could be a forest, a village, a town, and even castles. So the exploration is how you discover new missions, gather resources, and learn even more about the world you live in. Furthermore, you can even find hidden treasures, secret locations, and very interesting characters. Now, let's talk about the most interesting feature of the game. That is of course the combat system. So unlike many other RPGs that will rely on fantasy elements or simplified mechanics, in this game it is highly focused on historical accuracy and realism. The combat system is based on real medieval fighting techniques. You must therefore master many different skills. This could be timing, positioning, and even stamina. The combat is not just about swinging a sword and hoping for the best. You must also learn how to block, parry, and strike effectively. The game also uses a directional attack system, so you can choose the direction of your strikes and blocks. This means that you must pay attention to your opponent's movements and react accordingly. The game even includes a stamina system, so every action you take will deplete your stamina, and if you run out, your attacks become way weaker and you're much more vulnerable to enemy strikes. So as you can tell, this combat system highly affects the game by making each fight very strategic but also immersive, as it will require you to think and react like a real medieval warrior, adding a ton of depth and challenge to the gameplay. And it's truly one of the reasons why the game stands out so much from the others in the genre. Additionally to the combat mechanic, there's even realistic armor and weapon mechanics. So different types of armor will provide varying levels of protection and mobility. For example, if you chose on heavy armor, it'll offer really good protection but will slow you down massively, making it way harder to dodge attacks. On the other hand, a light armor allows for quick movements but leaves you way more exposed to damage if you actually get hit. Then you have different weapon types, where a sword or a mace might be good for different situations. And that brings me to my next point, the game difficulty. And it is tough for new players. This game does not hold your hand, and you are highly expected to learn through trial and error, and you are often thrown into the deep end. For example, in the early game, you might struggle a lot with a basic task like sword fighting or lockpicking. You must then practice these skills to get better, and there are no shortcuts. And I would therefore say that the game caters way more to the hardcore player who can appreciate a deep but immersive experience with very realistic mechanics. As a more casual or inexperienced player will find the game quite frustrating as it requires a lot of patience and dedication to master. Furthermore, there are no difficulty settings like easy or hard, so no matter your level, you will face the same level of challenge. This makes the game feel really rewarding if you stick around and learn it, but can also be a massive barrier of entry if you're looking for a more relaxed or even easier experience. Now, let's talk about the graphics, the sound and atmosphere. So as you can tell by the video, the graphics are absolutely stunning and truly bring the medieval world to life. This could be seen in the landscapes, the towns and even characters that are all highly detailed, creating a visually immersive experience. Then on top of it, you add the very realistic lighting effects and the weather conditions, like the very dynamic day-night cycle and the rainstorms, that will further pull you into the immersion of the game world. The sound and music design are also top-notch and play a crucial role in building atmosphere. This could be the ambient sounds of nature, like birds chirping and leaves rustling, alongside with the bustling noise of towns, making the environment feel truly authentic. Then you add the medieval music on top of it that will heighten the tension during battle, but also provide a soothing backdrop during exploration. But with that being said, the game is not perfect, and there are several pros and cons that we must cover. The first pro has to be the realistic combat system. It is so detailed and realistic, and is based on historical fighting techniques, which makes every battle feel authentic but also very challenging. Additionally, if you can enjoy a deep and very strategic approach to combat, you will love this mechanic. The next pro is the engaging storyline. It is so well written and filled with a ton of twists and turns, which really keeps you invested, but also invests you into the journey of Henry as he seeks out justice. And the final pro is the stunning graphics. The highly detailed environments and characters create a truly immersive world, where the realistic landscapes and towns make exploring truly captivating. And now for the cons. The first con has to be the steep learning curve. So while the game's realistic mechanics and sheer depth can be a massive pro, it will also be a con for new and casual players, as the lack of handholding can be extremely difficult. This game will require a ton of patience and practice to master, as there are so many systems you have to learn. And the other con is the somewhat repetitive tasks. So later in the game, certain aspects can be quite repetitive. This could, for instance, be the resource gathering and the skill practice that can feel quite repetitive over time. But with that being said, let's grade the game. And Kingdom Come Deliverance gets an amazing 9 out of 10, and for several reasons. First is the really impressive dedication to realism, the engaging storyline, and the beautiful graphics. The game's combat system, which will require skill and strategy, really set the game apart from other RPGs. Then you add the attention to historical detail and a truly immersive world that is a truly captivating experience. Furthermore, the game's graphics and sound design are another standout feature. This could be seen in the detailed environment, the dynamic weather, and the day-night cycle that really make the overworld exploration a visual treat. However, the game is not perfect and there are several drawbacks. First is the steep learning curve and high difficulty that will be quite off-putting for new or more casual players. Then you also add the somewhat repetitive tasks like gathering resources or skill practicing later on. But despite these issues, the game is honestly amazing if you can appreciate a deep immersive RPG with a big focus on realism and historical accuracy. The very unique combat system, the stunning graphics, and the amazing storyline provide a truly rich and rewarding experience, and the game is absolutely worth your time and money. For more amazing games, click here.